Hey everyone, this is Martin Johnson, author of the Atheist Survival Guide. It's interesting, and I really appreciate a lot of you have provided a lot of help, support, and comments on Facebook and TikTok and so on. But one of the things that came up from one of you was that they didn't really quite understand the connection between autism and atheism. And I know a lot of you saying, "Hey, you don't look autistic." But I guarantee very much my therapist will disagree with you. A lot of people have an assumption about autism as being kind of a Rain Man type of a condition. But in fact, the guy that Rain Man was modeled after, he himself was not autistic. Autism is just a different mode of cognition, a different mode of how you handle and process particularly emotions. And how it's expressed is very different in a lot of different people. The reason why I bring this up is that if you look at autistic people and religion, it really runs the gamut. There are a number of people, and I have good friends that I know and I respect that are devout Catholics, and they believe in an anthropomorphic God and all the bells and whistles of traditional Judeo-Christian religion. But the fact is that to a larger extent than the general population, autistic people tend to be atheists. I was lucky, just all the way around, and that I was born into a family that was pretty apathetic towards religion. Not necessarily angry or resistant to religion, but my family had gone through a lot of process in the 70s, dealing with their religious belief and what they really believed in. They weren't rejecting religion outright. They were more of what you call today nuns. That's people that belong to no specific religious tradition, but may, underneath have a belief in, a deity. For me, is kind of the way my brain is structured, very logical, very straightforward. It gave me a lot of breathing room in terms of, my own kind of intellectual growth. And one of the fortunate things is that as an autistic person who definitely doesn't like to be told what to do or dragged into things that you don't like, the idea of having to go to church every Sunday would have been definitely fodder for having some extreme what they call autistic meltdowns. So fortunately I was able to avoid a lot of that. But one of the things about being autistic, which was a good thing, was that it almost inured me or made me resistant to any sort of religious arguments. That is, when you think about what is atheism, it's not an ideology or philosophy or necessarily a way of looking at life. It's just that you have not been convinced of the existence of a God. And one of the, again, as I mentioned with autistic people, they tend to be kind of very literal, matter of fact, I don't want to say scientific thinkers, but tend to default on science and logic before we generally, focus on emotion. Not that we don't show emotion or have emotion, again, we just kind of process it a bit differently. But one thing about being that way is that we also have a very hard time with teleological thinking. And what that is the notion that, or the desire to kind of understand what is the meaning behind natural phenomenon. It's the thing that drives people to think about what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? What is the meaning of my life? Who created the universe? And none of those questions have ever interested me. I understand it. I understand, from a logical standpoint. I mean, I have my graduate degree in history. I've done a lot of study of religions, particularly Catholicism and so on. I've lived in other countries, Israel and so on, and been exposed to a lot of religions. But that thirst and quest for that type of a knowledge has just been of no particular interest to me. And that quest is essential for really being able to grasp or understand the notion of an anthropomorphic God. Again, logically understand what it is, but If you say there has to be meaning to the universe, there has to be a meaning to life, who gave it meaning? And it begs the question, oh, there must be some sort of like humanist or humanistic consciousness that provides that value, or provide is the one who generated those questions and answers in the first place, and the one who generated the universe. Again, that's lost on me. For me, I kind of look at, hey, science. The first principle is that matter and energy are never created or destroyed. It's said, to me, in a universal sense, in a sense of time as being limitless. Nothing was ever created or destroyed, so there's no need for a creator. And that's kind of the process in my own mind, and whether or not you agree with it or not, is just, that's the way my mind is structured. It may also kind of beg, a question for some of you, is that, why would, if you are somebody who does believe in a God, why would a God create somebody who is absolutely incapable of even grasping the notion, or even having a desire to grasp the notion of, of a deity, of an afterlife, of a kind of extra scientific world that one cannot see or touch or feel. That's basically it in a nutshell. Again, one of the things I'd encourage, if you guys are interested, feel free to drop me a line, ask me a question about this. I'm not shy about, again, either talking about my autism nor my atheism. I wouldn't have written a book if I was not foolish enough to go ahead and do that, particularly given the rise of right-wing Christian nationalism, Christian authoritarianism, and just in general religio-fascism globally. It does kind of take a certain sense of somebody who's either completely oblivious as to what's going on. Hopefully that's not the case in my case, or just somebody who thinks this topic and dispelling a lot of these these issues around religion, particularly as it applies to politicized religion and so on, is very important. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening, and look forward to my next video. Thanks. Bye.